Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
This is The Long War. I'm Rob Baer, and joining me once again are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher and Wyatt Turk. What's up, guys?
Yo, dog, great to be here.
Hey, what's up?
Wyatt, did you drop something? I saw you looking down.
I was playing with these magnets. I almost dropped it.
Oh, how do magnets work?
I don't know. That's why they're so intriguing. I got to play with them.
It's like magic.
Got to figure it out.
It's got to be magic.
Like a monkey with fire for the first time. I'm like, oh my God.
Monkeys get fire?
Well, we were cavemen and then whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fair enough.
I've never seen a monkey play with fire. I'd like to see
I have never either. But that's not to say it's less than zero chance.
I remember seeing a news thing maybe like a couple years ago or something that there was a bunch of like zoologists that were really anxious about this like trend they were seeing in these Japanese baboons because they were starting to use tools and stuff. And they were like, okay, this is a little worrying. It's like hyper aggressive apex simians.
Tooling. So we got a lot of feedback last week about not only the would you rather, but also some folks checked in about the whole ADA issue. Lawsuit issue. So I did want to make a couple clarifications. I wasn't 100% clear on the podcast real quick. So the folks that are actually disabled actually don't get any of this money. There's a finder's fee sort of system involved, and you could make the assumption that unscrupulous lawyers perhaps might share the settlement with the folks that do the legwork out there. And that was a lot of what Clint Eastwood alluded to, where the lawyers drive off in a Mercedes and the actual disabled folks go off in a wheelchair, so to speak. I believe this is close to his exact quote. So
grand tort cases are a lot like that. Like everybody's seen a commercial for a grand tort case. It's like, have you taken this medication and had blood come out of your beehole? Like, call us. They'll win a lot of money in settlement from these corporations, but that pool of money that is allotted to the plaintiffs is subdivided by however many plaintiffs there were. So like you'll see the big news story of like, oh, this like case against this one medication got like, $50 million. But the people who like were actually injured by this thing, which is why the grand tort case exists in the first place, they'll get like $150. Whereas the lawyers are like, well, I worked like over 120 man hours or like however many months or even years sometimes. So they'll get like a big fat, like $3 million payday.
Yep. Here's my billable hours, dog. So stuff like that. So I just wanted to kind of clear that up there, that I wasn't 100% clear about it, unfortunately. And I appreciate all the feedback. A lot of people emailed us about their crime too from the Would You Rather. Some of them I probably shouldn't read on air.
I mean, yeah, there's some dark roads that could go down.
There was some stuff. And a couple of professional legal folks checked into and had some stuff to say.
Those I would actually be interested in reading.
Yes and no. Like, I did want to mention that I wasn't 100% clear about that little point there, and appreciate everybody checking in and
that's why things like ADA trolling, like attorney bullshit, is partially so successful, is because it's hard to point the finger at something wrong going over there, because then you are put in a category potentially of people who might be misunderstood as anti-people in wheelchair. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's like kind of their body armor. Is like, we're going to go do this gangster shit, and I'm going to get all this money, not give any of the money to these people, maybe a couple bucks here and there, whatever. But no one's going to talk shit on me because I'm going to be like, what? You discriminate against disabled people? Americans? fucking Americans with disabilities, motherfucker. You hate disabled Americans. Like that's how. So it's a body armor. So it's really hard to talk, and it's like hard to navigate through that that set of circumstances. Like we talked about. Like people have their own experiences, and they are very important. And like we were very clear also in the podcast. Like in the case of Clint Eastwood, if Wyatt booked some stay, it cost a ton of fucking money, and like he moved his calendar around, and it's like, all right, everything's gonna be great, and he gets there and his fucking wheelchair doesn't fit to the front door. It's not just give me my money back on this room. It's like you kind of ruined my week, dog.
Yeah,
like so 100%.
Not cool.
Clint Eastwood has to get that guy money. Period. 100%. That dude needs money. That's fucked up. What happened to him? You know what I'm saying? It's like, and anybody who has been denied access in any capacity at any times is awarded some version of money, but it's not black and white. There's gray. There's like, is it your speech to text algorithm doesn't work correctly on your website? That's definitely a different category than I physically went to this location on a different continent and my whole vacations were busted. Right? They make it hard to talk about things like that because of, again, these lawyers use that shit as body armor. You know? It's straight bullshit. So I'm glad you clarified. Yeah. For the record, we do not fucking subscribe to fucking gatekeeping anybody in this hobby in any fucking capacity.
No. Unless they're cats, because, if they... Cats learn how to hobby.
Warhammer. They don't know how to do that.
Dude, they'll
knock all your models off the table.
They will.
It's just rude.
Yeah, they are rude. Super rude. So... Yeah,
right,
but
let's do it. Would you rather then?
Yeah.
Would you rather only be able to speak in riddles or only be able to speak in sarcasm?
Well, I already do one of those, possibly two.
Yeah, but 100% of the time?
I mean, I could do that.
Oh, you could? You could do that?
Wait, what's the question here?
Who knows what the question is, Rob? What is it?
What is the question?
What are questions, man?
I've been wondering that my whole life, Kenny.
See, I'm doing sarcasm. You're just passively taking it. It's very different. Like everything I say, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a turnoff. But then again, a riddle? Like how complex of a riddle are we talking?
I don't know. Depends on what the point you're trying to convey is.
Like a Yoda riddle?
What's the minimum required wordplay to count as a riddle?
I don't know.
Less than a haiku.
Haikus aren't riddles. They're poems.
That you know about. They are.
Am I magically able to do riddles on the spot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a different story then.
That is interesting.
I feel like I can do riddles because as a mysterious instructor, like I would just have to kind of rebrand my painting stuff, a little bit more Far East, like a little bit more esoteric in nature, be like very Yoda-like in my instructions on painting because sarcasm does not get a ride. You know what I'm saying? Hey man, I'm really having a lot of trouble with my airbrush, man. Yeah, are you? You're having a lot of trouble with that airbrush, huh, dog? Like, yo, fuck these classes, man. But if I could throw a Yoda-ism out there on the airbrush, I
don't know. I like this one because I imagine that both of them would get old real fast.
Oh yeah, no one wants
like day-to-day things where like, if Bonet was like, hey, could you get like the milk out of the fridge, and you hit her with like a riddle as an answer, like imagine how old that would get so fast.
Can I choose not to talk?
That's I mean, like if you were going mute to game the system, then like what would happen.
Can I choose not to respond to a question that will get me throat punched?
Sure.
I mean, you can do whatever you want.
Hey, can you get me the milk? Can I silently walk to the refrigerator, get the milk, and bring it to her?
I mean, sure. But there's only so many times you can go mute before it's like, oh, you're gaming it.
I know. Butthole Spider's coming up real soon. Yeah. But, God, you're not going to have sarcasm is you're going to lose a lot of friends. You're not going to make a lot of new ones. You might keep a lot of your old school friends, but you're kind of done making friends.
I mean, how many friends do you need?
I guess like four.
What is it? Like you can keep up with like 11 people in your life? Like,
well, if you're Superman, I guess.
I think that's the statistic. I remember reading it. I want to say it's 11 people.
I feel like with riddles, I'm less likely to get punched. And less likely to lose all my students.
Well, I mean, as a profession, like, yeah, you're going to probably need to.
Yeah, you got to think about it. You got to think about everything. You got to think about your career, man. You're going to walk into your boss's office and just sarcasm all over his desk, or riddle all over his desk. God, at least for some. But the thing is, okay, if you're in an industry where like concise information still needs to be conveyed, riddles are bad.
Oh yeah, I mean, just like go into the pharmacy, pick up some stuff. No, I feel like in more day-to-day basic interaction, riddles is like the lesser of the two evils, but still like equally as bad for your social life. Because at least if I was like going to pick up his prescription and I hit the counter lady with like a riddle, she'll think I'm weird. But I can handle thinking somebody like they think that I'm weird. If I hit them with sarcasm, they're just gonna think I'm an asshole, right? You know, you go to a restaurant, you're just sarcastic as fuck to the waiter.
You might not even get your pills, though. She's like, what's your date of birth? And you have to give her a riddle.
Well, no. What's your home address?
Yeah. You have to give her like one of those numbers riddles.
I mean, neither of these is easy. Just saying. That's why I like it so much.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the problem with everybody is
in general that they're not sarcastic enough.
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody's always trying to like placate everybody else, and there's just a certain subset of people that will never fucking be happy.
So riddles it is. Or did you wake up in the Cat Command Center today and choose violence, as somebody said in chat?
I wish I could see chat. Today has been a challenging day. I won't lie.
Rob's
not like
up, man.
Not like Tom Brady playing NFL's like, on military deployment.
Does that count as a riddle?
That is definitely a riddle as to why he said that.
Yeah.
Like, dog,
the world may never know.
Okay, if I say, Rob, why was it a hard day? And you said, why was it a hard day for Tom Brady today? Can I get away with that?
That's answering a question with a question. It's not a riddle.
Are riddles inherently questions?
Sometimes, but not always.
I have no idea. I mean,
I'm looking up the definition of a riddle now. A question or statement intentionally phrased as to require ingenuity in asserting its answer or meaning, typically presented as a game.
So I was right. Sometimes, but not always.
I'm gonna stick with riddles. I think I can make it work. I think I can rebrand myself as that guy.
I could probably do either.
I think you being sarcastic would be better.
I think I'm innately sarcastic.
Yeah, but the thing is, you don't go that hard.
I don't.
Your sarcasm is very...
Because I've learned that it is off-putting.
Yeah, your sarcasm is kind of like an inside joke that they don't realize how dumb they are because I don't get it. And then they look back at your grin and then they realize that they're stupid and they were just made fun of. So you can just elevate that, just let it come through your writing too. Imagine if like every Spiky Bits clickbait title was like super sarcastic.
I don't think
I think you'd be more successful.
Man.
You're like, guys, I can't help it. All right, yep, that's right. Kenny is the Riddler. The Riddler's hardcore. He's metal, right?
Some versions. Are we talking
Jim
like
Carrey one?
Yeah, are we talking like animated series or Jim Carrey? Wear like a suit, or are you gonna get like a green one-piece unitard with question marks on it?
Damn, I really like that unitard, though. Fuck, he's not metal. No. That's what I just realized. Good one. Rob, what's your final answer?
I guess sarcasm.
You guess? Really?
I can do either. I'm answer fluid tonight, guys.
Nice. You said fluid. All right. Well,
I told somebody recently I'm age fluid. They didn't know what to make of that.
That's a fact.
That might have been sarcasm.
Don't throw that one out in public.
That's right.
I was in public.
That's right.
Don't do that again.
That's right, Taco Verde. Really? Choosing sarcasm?
Again, sometimes I just don't care when I'm in public.
Being age fluid is dangerously close to that really creative term that pedophiles like to use to not sound like pedophiles. Wow. That's what I'm saying. Don't say that in public ever again.
Oh yeah, that's not good. So you can say I reverse age.
I guess that would be more socially
acceptable. Lean into
acceptable.
the lizard thing. Just tell people you're a lizard, man.
You're immortal. You have a painting of yourself hidden inside your closet that takes all your age while you don't.
I wonder if people would catch on to that.
For you, it's a miniature though. It's like one of those it's like one random miniature in his collection that he painted, but he can't show anybody because then the magic wears off.
I feel like the reality is it's a Gen 1 Transformer.
Ooh. Man, oh man.
You want to do some news? We have Wyatt for a little longer, so let's accelerate this until Wyatt can kick it with us.
That's fine. So news-wise, as far as GW pre-releases go, they all suck. I'm not even going to cover them. It's like some Warhammer Underworlds. Does anybody care?
Oh, man. That was my favorite news segment ever. Sounds like my news segment.
Why can't he do that in an article? So he's like, I do that. Dude. No, you don't. You've never said those words in an article, Rob. You should say.
You should do that like every week for everything that's not hype.
It's funny because I always get judged. Somebody always says I do something that I don't, and I'm like, this I can't. It's Warhammer Underworlds. Does anybody care at this point?
No. They haven't in years.
I can't even like
every time you start listing out the prices for like soft covered books and stuff, I'm just like, bro, you are putting me to sleep. Nobody cares.
Dude, the Warhammer Underworlds don't care. I mean, if there was League of Votann, Hecaton tank, yeah, people might care. But you know what?
Where is that?
It's probably next week.
Well, they put out an article for it the other day, and I'm like, if they don't announce it like this weekend, I'm going to be salty.
Week. It's probably Ogres and Warhammer, at least the Hecaton next week. Hopefully, because the releases have been pretty poo-poo lately.
Oh yeah, where's my Space Dwarves?
Yeah, they coming. They coming slowly. But hey, we got a new Space Marine Predator preview for Horse Heresy. So if you want a Predator, there's 2 Predators you got to buy now. Come on, man! Okay. How do I even talk about that? I mean, it's cool. I hope they do an upgrade sprue available separately, like they did with the Dreadnoughts. Because if they don't, people might get really upset about that. But then again, you can't even get half the shit you need for Horse Heresy right now, and that's a number 1 game killer. So we'll just.
I told you this game was never going to work.
Deep breaths. Something cool that is coming out tomorrow. Street date. Mandalorian. Din.
For Legions?
Yeah, for Legion will be out tomorrow. And the top 200 stores in America or worldwide will get the limited edition Grogu that they can sell to their peeps. So look out for that.
Cool.
Don't know what it looks like quite yet. Saw the box, but that's cool. IG-11 also comes out tomorrow for Star Wars Legion. So some good stuff to look out for. So there's that. If you're into 3D printing, the Samurai and Spartan version of the Eternus armor by Arma Mechanicus are currently available in STL format over there on his. He's got platforms all over the place now, so you can definitely check it out. I think we did a post on it already. I do have the STLs. We will be hopefully offering them as 3D prints very soon.
Okay.
But there's a lot going on around here. So Maybe not this week. Maybe next week. We'll try. We'll try hard. IKEA announced that they are raising prices, which for a lot of us, you immediately think of display cases for our miniatures. So I checked out all the prices because we've done a bunch of articles on display cases. As you can see behind me, if you're watching live, I have various different ones. I got the Fabricore. I got the...
what's the name of the metal frame one? Because that's what I have.
The Deltoff.
See, is it though? I thought Wait, okay, so what is the one that has the feet on it behind you?
Which one? This one?
Farther away from you. Farthest away from you.
The one with the Titans?
Yes.
That is the Fabricore. And they make that...
That's the one that I recommend people get. The detail, that sucks ass. It'll fall apart if you look at it the wrong way.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. It requires a lot of maintenance. Like if you're going to move.
We had one shatter because somebody shut the door too hard once at our Games Workshop. Don't buy those. Buy the full metal frame Fabricore ones.
Oh, yeah. So that one isn't that bad, or that one right there, that Fabricore. They make a double version, slightly shorter of it, but depending on what you want to store, that's probably the way to go. That one right there, and that one hasn't gone up in price. So that's nice. Now the Deltoff did go up in price. It's $99 now. I remember for the longest time it was the same price. I think $69, but times are changing, unfortunately, and things are going up. So there is that. Now there is a Kickstarter out there, currently happening for some display cases you can put on display and they can hang from your wall. I don't really want to talk about the brand or the name or who puts it out, but
based on your tone of voice, I was like, is this somebody Rob hates?
No, not hates. I'm just saying.
Are they an asshole?
So let me present the pricing comparison, right? You can get a 5x5 square with a 3-inch usable area for the same price as the Deltoff used to cost from IKEA.
And this is a wall shelving unit? Yeah,
that you put on, and it has like LEDs built in.
Are we talking inches or feet? Because I'm confused. You're doing this
inches. So this is about $60, and I'm making finger squares about 3 inches wide square.
Okay. Yeah,
that is surprising. $60.
And you have to wall mount it too?
You have to wall mount it too. But it's the Kickstarter is very unclear.
I'm so confused about why anybody would like this.
Thank you. They have made $100,000 in pledges already, but they're an established brand.
Who made $100,000?
There's a Kickstarter out there for some wall mounted display cases that if you actually read through the Kickstarter, not only do they're influencers, there are 2 influencers on it. They say one is somebody else and and they don't even say who the other person is, but they literally put the wrong name underneath one. And it's not very clear of what hinges you get, what front cases, even the power supply, like what you get. And they don't explain if it's going to be in US, like American outlets or anything like that. It's a UK based company.
It seems like such a bad idea.
They've made $100,000, guys. They have a following, which is great. And if you want to support them, that's great. But I can't when you're telling me that you get a 3x3 usable area square for the price of a Deltoff case from IKEA, the previous price, now it's $99 from IKEA. It just blows my mind. I'm like, yo, I will spend $200 on that case right there. I will put LEDs in it, $20 myself, and I will have a dope ass case that I can put fucking Titans in before I spend.
Now, is it modular? Is that one of its selling points?
You can not really.
It's
confused.
Not even
3 inches deep.
They're selling like 5-inch cubes of.
Well, that's one of them. They got bigger sizes, and what they want you to do is buy the bundle for like $400, and there's like 5 of them. Now, the one good thing that I think is what it's geared towards is that you can put it in your like living room and stuff, and your significant other will be, oh, okay, cool, it looks good, you know, like up on the wall and shit.
If it was like a long strip that's like sized appropriately for minis, so that it's kind of like tight and compact and well lit and stuff, like I can kind of see that being trendy for like interior design. But if it's in little cubes, it doesn't make any sense.
Oh, there's you can get rectangle versions, you can get cube versions. Again,
if that tiny cube is like $60, then I imagine the bigger ones are even more price gougy.
It is, and I don't want to say gouging. Like, you can tell there's some craftsmanship gone into it, right? They've done the work. It looks good. The pricing is just, I mean, me as an educated consumer, I am not going to pledge a Kickstarter to a UK company that is on the verge of an energy crisis, governmental crisis, economic crisis.
There's the real talk.
And just be like,
so now that I look at these,
here's
I do see why they're like,
for something I can literally drive. I can have this delivered to my house.
So I really appreciate Rob's gangsterness.
I do too.
Keep it up, Rob. Keep it up.
I agree with you, Rob. These look cool. Like, I was confused about how this was going to look. Like, visuing it in my head.
It is a very well-crafted project.
It looks very trendy. It looks very like modern.
But
chic.
look at their Kickstarter. Their page is riddled with errors. There isn't enough information in there. They say it's connected with mains. Dog, I don't live in the UK. I don't know what the fuck a mains is.
Is it maybe that means they're supposed to wire it into the wall?
It's just an electrical plug in the wall.
Like,
because I know that.
I wouldn't even say, like, you can't even determine from a picture if it's well made. So they can't even use well made, well crafted.
But there's no pictures of cords. There's cords.
What they are is very sexy. Right?
Sure.
So they're way sexier than an IKEA cabinet.
Oh, I see the tiny little cube. It's on somebody's desk.
They're way sexier than an IKEA cabinet. Like, an IKEA
100%.
cabinet stands somewhere and takes some space in your fucking house.
Yep.
These
and
are...
your significant other might not be cool with it.
These are clean, classy.
But seeing the company now, like, this is definitely catered to people who do like one at a time minis. Like,
and they
paint for painting only. Like, these are not the type of cases you would want to get if you have like an army for any game, because there's not enough room.
No, they're not even 3 inches wide. You have to put bikes like sideways.
No, they're like it's like a shadow box. It's very cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very cool product. Very.
If you're telling me this tiny little cube that only fits one X-wing from Star Wars X-wing is $60,
it's 60 pounds. So
okay, so it's going to be about like $75. That seems like a lot.
I mean, they've got the thing is, if you have a following and people like your shit,
that's the thing. If you have a following, you have those brand zealots. You've run 4 Kickstarters already.
People are just supporting them and getting some stuff on the side.
But again, this is the opposite of what we talked about in the pregame. This is the pinnacle of hobbyists. This is literally the pinnacle of hobbyists. You're going to get these people at the top. You're not going to get anybody else towards the base or even halfway down, because people know they're just going to go to IKEA, right? And the thing is, like, you have to be very careful what you say. Like, if you're approached by these people to talk about this product and you say some dumb shit, like, it makes you look dumb to your following. So you have to. I'm a little concerned with this whole project.
It's more like this. Rob's opinion of this project comes from his financial responsibility to himself, his price cost assessment. He likes to know that he can trust somebody that he invests their money in. So things like errors all over the page, things he doesn't, things that are not very understandable, things that are kind of like murky. These are red flags for Rob. Rob wouldn't buy something that costs as much as something he already owns that's 5 times the size. So it's more like, Rob, is this a must buy or a throw it in the trash, kind of scenario. Rob's like, throw it in the trash. I would never buy this.
I wouldn't even buy it.
That's what I'm saying. It's like not worth your money.
It is a well-made product for certain people that have that kind of money.
The thing is, that's even the wrong term. You keep saying that. I have no idea if it's well-made.
Yeah, it looks, looking at their videos and looking at...
You can't determine craftsmanship through a picture.
It's meant to look cool. I mean,
everything on IKEA's website looks well made, so you go to IKEA.
Yeah, like it's gonna be made and manufactured as cheaply as possible to produce the most amount of profit possible, and they're using the like modern architecture aesthetic to give it a commiserate price tag. So they're saying that like this extra large square, which can only hold like 20 miniatures total because it's like 6 shelves and there's room for about 4 or 5. So like 20 to 30 maybe is like almost $200.
No, for any serious collector who has a ballin collection, you must be money bags, balling out of control to use this to display your collection.
Like I can see that there could be a demographic for
but if you have if you paint kill teams and you've got like 16 models you're really proud of, this is tight.
So let's see. There's 100 and let me see. We divide this.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. No, I mean, personally, I agree with you, Rob.
Yeah, so like on average, if you were to average out how much they've made to the number of backers, people are spending about $300. They're pledging about $300, and I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are buying that $400 that pledge, which they're either getting something
small to dip their toes, or they're buying the bundle.
They've run 4 successful Kickstarters, and there's a lot of folks out there. And when I meet people in real life, and they're like, "Hey, I bought XYZ brushes. What do you think?" And I was like,
"The artist opens brushes."
They're not going to make you a better painter, dog. And they're like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah." They're cool, and if you like their brand, then go for it.
They're good at branding. You know what I'm saying? Like they're good at branding. Right. They sell a sexy box of brushes that are really high quality for an aggressive price tag that they achieved that result with that brand. Like that is their whole thing. Their whole thing is my shit looks sexier than your shit. It's going to be good, but you want it because it's got that swoosh on it now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, this is a real Nike move.
Yeah, it's a real Nike move.
At the end of the day, brand sell shit.
And they do well with that. And so ultimately, Kickstarters are a lot of times just people supporting the person. Like look at Duncan Rhodes paints.
Right.
Like they're not tight. They're okay.
They're not.
You know what I mean? They're all right. Like, but you support your boy Duncan, and he gives you some paints, dude. That's what it's about.
And that's the number one reason to do.
I'm not like mad at these people for doing this. It's just like when I see something like this, it's from the perspective of a consumer. And so if I were to see this and be like, man, like $300 for this like wall panel that only holds like
it's financial irresponsibility
or like, yes. that much. I'm like, that doesn't seem like a good deal to me. That's all I'm saying. And like a lot of people would discern that, but then like, I think there's also like a crossover of people that have like kind of money bags like Kenny was talking about to people who are like, I want to buy this like one hyper dope miniature bust and spend like 8 months painting it. Like there's a lot of crossover from the people that I've met at various shows and stuff like that. So I see their demographic, but also I get Rob's point of like, there's some sketchiness, like there's some red flags that should get ironed out.
Premature launch is probably the word I would use. Anyways, so I just wanted to talk about that for a minute. Magic the Gathering announced their new super drops. So if you are looking for more Warhammer 40K Magic cards or just Warhammer Magic cards in general, you can pick them up now over at the Magic Secret Lair page. They've got AOS, they got Blood Bowl, they got Orcs. If you're into Japanese manga, they've got some really cool stuff over there. The guy that drew all the stuff in the Solid Snake video games, I forget his name.
Okay.
He drew a bunch of stuff, including Thoughtseize, which is a really exciting card.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's not a magic thing.
Magic stuff. But so all that's over there. And that will be up, I think, until the 28th. So they're delivering on the 28th of November, or shipping, I forget which is Cyber Monday. So also the day that you will be able to purchase the $1,000 Magic Pack bundle of beta proxy cards. We'll see how that goes. That's wild as well.
Yeah. Was this like a huge waste of money segue? So we talked about these.
Man, I don't know. We're just
like right into cards.
the secret
like
weapon drop or the secret layer drops were I think they're cool for some people. I mean, there's some cool cards in there if you're looking at they're always good. Brothers of War comes out Veterans Day weekend, I believe, is the pre-release for the next Magic set, and then the release will be the week after. And it looks like there is going to be another Dominaria set coming out in January.
You're saying so many words. Don't understand.
Yeah, but if you play Magic, you already know. Anyways, speaking of Magic, TCG Player announced that they will be bringing comic books to their platform. So if you're already using and trust TCG Player for all your collectible card game needs, well, your comic book needs will soon be satisfied as well over there. So they will go
online retailer or something.
So TCG Player is probably the leading place to buy collectible card games. There was TCG Player and there was Channel Fireball.
Okay. So is it just like an online store or like if I know that this one card is baller as fuck, can I go buy that one card from them?
Think of if eBay. Think of if eBay was if there was an eBay platform for just Magic where people set the price.
Okay.
And it was both an app. They have a scan, so you could scan the Magic card. If you don't know what Magic cards you have, you could literally scan them with your app, and it boops, and it tells you might. They're not 100%.
Is there any kind of like third-party regulation on pricing?
No, it's set by the market.
Okay, is there any third-party mediation on like quality or like checking if a card is real or not?
These guys are real. You fuck up as a seller on there, you are in trouble.
That's right.
Okay.
So conversely, recently the two platforms, TCG Player bought out Channel Fireball to form one marketplace. Very quickly after that, they announced that eBay purchased them. So now it's all under one umbrella, and it's going to get real. For collectibles, it's all going to be owned by basically one company, which is really interesting. How it all kind of Pac-Man within like 4 months of each other. So comics coming to TCG Player, it's going to be pretty legit for sure. If you're looking for deals on the Warhams and you're into RPGs, the new Humble Bundle is out. So Deathwatch and Rogue Trader books. $25 for all 41 titles, I think it was, between the two. Seems pretty good. If you're into that and you don't mind some PDFs, you can of course pay more and it goes to charity and such. But check that one out. I think it has about a week left on that one, give or take. Ogres and Lisa Votan will probably be the new releases if I had to guess for next week.
Oh shit, about to fucking buy all them leagues up. You ready? You and me, Wyatt?
At least a hackathon.
Stoked.
Let's do it.
Man, like I've been so bummed out the past couple of weeks. Like I've just been staring at my box of Votan stuff, wanted to paint it, and like I ordered these really cool third-party decals from Japan that are for like Gundam kits, so that I can have really cool like letters and numbers and fun little decals on stuff.
Yeah, you want? I can even see it in my head where it's kind of like
fucking
that
hobby at all.
Like that Firefly vibe. Like you got like characters and like.
Oh no! So they're not in like kanji. It's just like most of the companies that make those high quality decals are in Japan or like Hong Kong or Taiwan or like that region. So if you want some really cool high quality decals, typically you can find them really easily on model kit import stores. Like if they sell a lot of like Tamiya stuff or Gundam kits and things like that, you're like, oh, I can get these really cool decal sheets. Because one of the problems with the sheets we have from GW is they're, like corporate branded or whatever, and they don't have things that you might want. They're like, well, we have numbers 1 through 10, but that's it. And you only get like so many of them. And so you can't like do a whole army based on one sheet, or maybe they don't have symbols that you like or whatever it might be. It's a lot easier to get that through the third party stuff or Gunpla stuff than it is to make them at home because like homemade decals really suck, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, what else we got for New releases and information. So Necromunda Prometheum tank. If you have your galvanic magma vent in your garage, well, now you can get a Necromunda Prometheum tank, and you can put it on the back of your Outrider truck and drive down into your garage.
You gonna get one of these tanks to store your galvanic eruptions in?
I already have a magma vent for that.
So the magma vent was where the eruptions came out of.
No.
I store my magma in the galvanic vents. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay, gotcha.
That's what I do with my vents.
And you get it. You're doing it right. So that was the big preview for Necromunda. Hopefully it comes out here in a few weeks, give or take. It looks like it's a plastic kit, so it can stand alone, or of course you can put it on the back of the Necromunda truck, which looks pretty neat. And last but not least, GW finally came out with another Old World preview, where they basically confirmed that when Old World releases, there will be new Bretonnians, new Tomb Kings, new Orcs, which we kind of already knew, High Elves, and I think that was all they actually confirmed. But I mean, let's be real. We kind of already know.
Let's be real as fuck.
Yeah,
nobody gives a shit about fantasy.
Yeah. I was like, I care as much about the Old World as I care about Warcry.
I do like Tomb Kings though. They're tight.
I will tell you that the interest for the Old World eclipsed both pretty much everything else on the site this week.
That makes sense.
So people are genuinely interested. Now, I don't know whether that's because they're still holding on to their armies from Warhammer Fantasy.
You know, and that's a good point, Rob. Here's the thing. All my memories of this shit is old. It's old memories. We've come 100%. So far as a community. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe they launched this Old World shit and it's like all these people have moved forward in their hobby experience for the last 20 years, basically. And now it's a different community. It's not the same group of fantasy players. It's like these, you know, like this could be an explosion, honestly. Like, I haven't really thought of it in that capacity before, but it's dumb for me to think that that whole community's still just the same group of guys with the same armies unpainted playing each other on the weekends. You know what I mean? From 2009.
It is 100% those people. All the guys that refused to get into Sigmar, I know like 10 of them locally, where they still have all their stuff. They have not worked on any fantasy related things since it went away. They refuse to even like hear the words Age of Sigmar. And they're like super stoked for this. And I'm like, man, I was kind of glad that some of you guys don't come around the shop anymore, to be honest. Like, that's my main worry with this Old World stuff. It's like, I kind of want some of you guys to stay gone. Like, well, don't resurrect that mummy. You know what I mean?
It's hard to say either way, bro. But I guess we'll find out in supposedly next year is the word on the street for when the edition will drop. Supposedly in all plastic. So much excite either way.
I was just trying to go with Rob on this though. And he was like, yo, news that sucks. It all sucks this week.
It doesn't all suck this week. The GW official stuff was kind of lackluster. Let's be real.
Okay, you're obviously getting sober now. Take another shot.
Who was the guy who used to do Weekend Update that was like super mean? You guys remember who I'm talking about? Like in the 90s?
Kevin Nealon? No, he was the host.
He was, man, I wish I could remember his name. I can see his face because like he stopped being famous like after the 90s, but he was everywhere. No, not Norm. Dennis Miller. That's his name.
Oh, yeah. Dennis Miller. Dude, he did not stop being famous after the 90s.
What has he done?
He's stopped being. That's a perfect description of Dennis Miller.
Dude, he's been way. Like, he fell off the face of the planet.
The second,
all sorts of stuff.
The second John Patrick said Dennis Miller, I was like, yep, that's perfect. Stop being famous in the 90s. That's him.
Yeah, 100%, no way. Dude.
I refuse.
Pull up his IMDb.
I am right now.
Squealsville says he's dead.
Is he?
That was
really bad right now. Did he die?
That was a fake rumor. He's 68.
Oh, okay. Ooh, I was about to feel so bad.
I was like, oh well, shit.
That's a different guy. He was not on Rescue Me.
How does Dennis Miller make money?
Man, so while Rob's looking that up, funny thing that I realized the other day, I was on Hulu and I saw some shows that I haven't seen in a long time, like just advertised. Like, did you guys ever watch Rescue Me or like Nip Tuck back in the day on like FX? Can you like, is it kind of quaint to think about how shocking and edgy those shows were at the time compared to what we watch now? And you're like, wow, that was like really tame. Like the most shocking thing in Nip Tuck in like 2003 is not even close to the stuff that we watch now.
It's true.
Seems accurate.
Anyways, the whole reason I brought that up is I was going to say, Rob, you should just be that guy for every hobby news segment.
Well, you know what? He has a net worth of 100 million, and he basically apparently hasn't done anything in 20 years. So good for him.
Yeah,
he figured it out.
Yeah. He was financially responsible, and he didn't back any Kickstarters for things.
He didn't back any fucking display case Kickstarter.
He's like, I went to IKEA. I didn't buy contrast paints, etc. Yeah. Well, then let's pivot over. If we still have Wyatt for a little bit too, we can blast through it. The balance update, which we came out. We haven't had Wyatt to discuss things like this for the last several weeks, and we've been just kind of talking. You know what? Ever since Votan about this.
Can I fucking simp for GW for a minute? Can I be a complete fucking sellout and shill for them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, they did it good. They did a gold star. They put out a fucking article with this Dataslate that was like, here's all the stuff that's different. We've been asking for ages. Like, stop just publishing this shit and making us find it. Like
find the differences, yeah.
Like, they actually put out an article with some reasoning.
There's a part that says summary. Here it is.
Yeah, and they put a fucking TLDR at the bottom. Like, absolute Chad play, guys. Do this every time.
This actually lends even more weight, in my opinion, to my statement I made when maybe you weren't here, or you were when I was talking about how like the capitulating video they put out. And then, you were there. We talked about it, tactics. Mm-hmm. And then the Metal Watch dropped, and that line, that last paragraph you read from it, where they said, and then there's no Votan data here, should have just been what they said in that video, right? But they didn't. So why did that article come out? And that 23-minute video, I did watch it after Rob said we should watch it. It was amazing. It was so awesome. And 100% in my heart of hearts believe that the fucking media team threw the game producers under the bus with that fucking art, with that dumb video. That made him look like a little bitch ass, and he hated that. He's like, why would you fuckers do that? And so then you see the new tone in these Meta Watches and like this trend. I think it's compartmentalized, feuding. Like, you can trust this crew. It feels that way to me. You can trust what they're saying, what they're looking at, and what they're doing. And based on that 23-minute video, motherfucker knows what he's talking about. 100%.
Yep.
Knows what he's talking about.
So like you were saying in the pre-show, like sometimes when you're a game developer, you have to like give out a little bit of tough love and look at people and be like, hey, sometimes you don't know what you're talking about. And I'm the game dev and I know better. So like, this is how it's going to be. Like, I remember, you guys, like, are you aware of the game Final Fantasy 14, the online game? Like, maybe you've heard it, seen a commercial for it, right?
Final Fantasy seems familiar.
Yeah, so it's like the MMO, right? Mm-hmm. There was numerous occasions where similar things were happening, where there was a lot of the Care Bears, which is where I first got that term in my lexicon, were whinging about like the difficulty of certain things. And it was like raid content, like, the most challenging content that you're supposed to work towards and test your abilities against. And they were whining that it was too hard and that like they couldn't do it because they're like the best players wouldn't let them, into the parties and stuff. And it's like, well, you have to get better at the game. You have to be good to do this. Or of course, nobody wants to take you along. And it got so bad at one point that the lead game designer, he came out and he was like, we're not changing this. You guys need to get good. And just mic dropped. And it like the player base after the devs came out with those statements, it soared for like years. And it was one of the best decisions they could have made because every other MMO style game that had capitulated died. And here they are still going strong.
Yeah, good point. So let's talk about the exact data changes. Based on the information, we knew Tyranids and Harlequins, they were going to be looked at because they said if there's anything within above or under our 5-point deviation gets looked at. That's what they said. That's what we look at. He said it and he confirmed it very detailed in the video. And he doesn't go into detail on like what looking at something means, but we can actually make some solid inferences on what looking at something means, right?
Yeah,
59% win ratio.
Some of the decisions.
Walk us through the Tyranids.
Yeah. So, thing to note too is last time we had this nice graph of the win rate stuff. Cool. But that was dated October 4. And so they posted a new one, dated October 17. And some things have shifted. So Custodes have gone down from where they were, and Tyranids and Harlequins have gone up. So previously, Tyranids, I think they were like 57, 58, and now they went up to 59. So some stuff went down, some stuff went up, and that kind of makes sense as to why they did some of these things. So out the gate, I'm going to go down to the bottom where it's easier to read. So Tyranids, they get hit. That was my prediction. Is Tyranids were the top of the pack. They were well outside of the 5% margin of error. And so I was expecting them to get hit. However, I'm actually pleased they didn't hit them too hard because nobody likes that, right? Unless you're just like a curmudgeon that's like, fuck Tyranid players, they all deserve whatever they get, right? Like, there's a lot of people that enjoy Tyranids and they don't deserve to have their army completely destroyed, right? So some small nerfs that make total sense. So the first one being that the warrior spam stuff is getting slapped on the wrist a little bit. So the High Fleet Leviathan thing of transhuman only applies to monsters now. So that's, fine. Warriors were really oppressive. People were spamming the fuck out of them. They're really strong. So they're like, no more transhuman for warriors.
Which gives us a little intel on what they look at, right? 59% win ratio. Remember I said the other day, I was like, well, that's shocking to me because for me, I would have felt they were 100%. Right? Because like my very limited play so far is 100% get my butt kicked. And the funny thing though is I played against 3 different High Fleets, lost all 3, but learned like I'm like, oh man, I think I could do better in the rematch. But I kept butting into other High Fleets with different levels of beating me severely, right? Definitely Leviathan's the hard one. But so I'm like, oh, interesting. So of the 59% win ratio, which I felt would be higher, what they determined by looking at it was all the people playing Leviathan are winning almost all their games. That's what they determined. And say, hey, you don't get transhuman on those warriors because you're all taking 18 warriors. That's a common thread. That's
it's a little too much. Tone it down a little bit, right? But all your big stuff still has it, which is like kind of the good part of it, because the problem with the big bugs is that you could just like slap them down with meltas and stuff, and that doesn't feel nice when your super cool Carnifex gets like one shot before it activates. And then the second one is they changed the relic Reaper of Obliterax, which was their super nasty relic upgrade. So before, if you successfully wounded, it did a mortal wound on top of all the damage. I think it's a 3 damage weapon.
It slaps.
And then also it ignores feel no pains and that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's an Abaddon killer.
Right. No. It's not.
Oh, it's a feel no pain ignorer.
Yeah. So the model cannot use any rules to ignore the wounds it loses. So it is, I'm thinking of damage reduction. So it ignores feel no pains and it ignores wound caps.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Damage reduction is different.
No, it slaps down people like Abaddon who have a 3 wound cap. Like,
right.
Yeah,
and so they changed it. And so now each time an attack is made, if it successfully wounds, you get 1 mortal wound in addition to any other damage to a maximum of 3 mortal wounds. Because Abaddon can do something kind of similar with Drachnine where, it can just absolutely pop off. And it's like, hey, take, 15 mortal wounds before the 26 damage that you're going to take, Like that doesn't feel very good. It's a little bit too much.
Did it have a cap before, or was the cap 6?
Yeah.
Pretty much every time I played against that fucking Tyranid, that Hive Tyrant, he fucking does 6 mortal wounds to me. That's like basically what happened.
Yeah. Wow.
He's like, oh, I'm gonna do all this stuff, and then like 6 mortal wounds. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it hurts. So they toned it down a little bit. Because like I said, it replaces the Bone Sword or Monstrous Bone Sword. So you're still going to get like multi damage out of it, but you're not going to get the oppressive mortal.
Thing is, it can't be like this assassination blade and a suddenly shocking
one shot a night blade.
Yeah, like it can't. So that's the thing is too. Again, we can infer that was a common unit choice. Was that Hive Tyrant configuration? Hive Fleet Leviathan is obviously equal sign the vast majority of the 59% win ratio of Tyranids. And the common thread was warriors were transhuman and that Hive Tyrant. And then so they said, well, look at it. They discovered that information, and look at what they did. They didn't break the codex. Like I've already been talking to some people. They're like, okay, so I'm not playing blocks of warriors. I'm going down to MSU warriors. No worries. Like, got it. Like, so it's just when you see 9 warriors in one big brick, you know that you can at least wound those motherfuckers now in +1s and stuff. So that's tight.
Yeah, and then there's a change to Harlequins. I'm going to pull up the Harlequins.
I think it was a Skyweaver, right?
Sadiths. Well, it's a change to how the Light Sadith, Blaze of Light works. I'm not super up to date on.
It was like a remain stationary while advancing, and that applied to the guys inside of it too.
Right. So the 2 bullet points before the change read, if you attack it more than 18 inches away, it has transhipment, and each time a unit moves, advances in the movement phase, it counts as remaining stationary. Right. So then they changed it to the second bullet point is different now. Each time a unit with this characterization makes a normal move or advances in your movement phase and your following shooting phase, that unit counts as having remained stationary. This does not apply if the unit is embarked in a transport, which is something we've seen before. Like that's a clarification they've made with other things that had a bit of a loophole with guys inside of transports. So just kind of like playing a little cleanup. That's all I was. Space Marines are getting kind of memed right now because supposedly they got buffed with big giant cartoon air quotes. It says change shock
extra objective thing.
Yeah, so
secondary.
They have the shock tech. It's secondary, right? And you get like 4 points if you do the thing. But
it was only worth 3 before.
Well, here's the thing, Rob. They don't have a 34% win rate because of one secondary. They have it because they've been completely left in the dust by the evolution of the game state. So this helps them a big fat nothing. Doesn't do anything.
It's funny. I disagree. What I think is their asterisk on that original MetaWatch article, I feel like was another example of how they're aware that win ratios are not the end all be all statistic, as we all said, right? It's not that. They said straight up, for some reason, only Dark Angels, Blood Angels, and Space Wolf players seem to click the chapter selector when they sign up for like a BCP tournament, and nobody else does. So these guys, we have all their data on. Every other motherfucker is just, I'll play Space Marines. Then they said we can also infer that almost exclusively beginners start with Space Marines. So their data on why their win ratio is so poor is even more hard to fucking disseminate because it's clouded by we don't know what chapters we're talking about. Are these like 50% beginners, 50% OG fluff players? We don't know. Here's a fucking secondary.
Right.
It's too many. It's because we don't know. Who do we buff?
I see the point.
Who do we even buff? White Scars? Do we buff? I mean, we don't have to.
You don't have to. This is the point I'm going to make. So like, I'll see to your point that you are correct. What they should have done is what they did with Death Guard, because none of the Plague companies got buffed in Death Guard, but they gave them universal tools to their codex to help them out. For example, if they made Terminators for Space Marines, OBSEC, that's something that could have helped them out. If you're running tactical squads and all their war gear was free, that could help them out. If you're running veteran units and their war gear is free, that could help them out greatly. Little things like that are universal. It doesn't matter what chapter you play. That helps out everybody.
That's a good point. I'd like to talk about that for a second. So this is to all my Space Marine homies out there, right? You're playing Space Marines. Let's say you are objective about your game state, right? Let's say I love Space Marines. I'm not that experienced in competitive play. They're definitely my first boy, and I can personally, as an instructor who's graduated over 130 people from my curriculum, there's a lot of fucking Ultramarines out there. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty classic, to the point where my first lesson is we're painting blue Space Marines, because that's just 90% what they're painting anyway. So the same things that you see like Blood Angels doing kind of work for you too, brother. Just letting you guys know, like, it's not all trash. You got the AOC bump. You have Odes and Moments still. You have access to Vanguard Vets. You have access to Assault Marines with utterly free upgrades, 90-point units that have 3 plasma guns. Like, you have a lot of these things, but if your collection is vastly like what you got in those Star Collecting boxes, you're always going to fall short. So even if you don't want to leave the Ultramarine lifestyle or whatever your chosen Legion is, take a look at what some of these like dedicated Legions are doing and try to see if you can at least emulate something about that.
Yeah, I mean, like you can take Centurions. Like, those are a really good
Assault Centurion. A 3-man Assault Centurion squad for its points is a baller ass unit for all Space Marines. So just take a look at, like, okay, fine, the Blood Angels one, it's all combo centric and it's like super synergetic, but like, dog, if you had like 2 Vanguard Vet squads with just Lightning Claws, combat squatted in reserves, dropping in on objectives and doing fucking actions and shit, you're gonna like win more games than you lose now. If those replaced like assault aggressors and shit like that, or whatever those things are called. Like, so just take a look at that.
There's things they could have done. There's things that players can do, like better unit choices like you're talking about. I think something that could have been a real boon to Space Marine players is if they had taken things like Firstborn Terminator squads and things like aggressors and been like, these guys have OBSEC now. Because what that allows them to do is take some tough units they normally wouldn't, because they're kind of not utility. And also it saves on CP. Like, everybody's budgeting CP real hard in Nephilim. And so what does everybody want to take? The handout OBSEC warlord trait that I forget the name of.
Rights of War.
Rights of War. Everybody wants to take Rights of War, so all this stuff can become OBSEC. So now if your super tough boys are already OBSEC, then you no longer have to spend that CP on Rights of War, or you can spend it on something different.
There's a couple of interesting points. I like that. And so also follow up to my Space Marine players out there. Please, when you go into tournaments or Crusade Leagues or whatever, tell them what chapter you're playing, please. This data is very murky because we don't know what's going on. We don't know. I would love to see all the delineation down the board. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see exactly how many players are playing what. You know, it helps everyone out if you're a little bit more accurate with your tournament information.
Yeah. And you get faction points for ITC. Even if you don't want to compete for best in faction like Adeptus Astartes, you can personally track by chapter. All you have to do is, when you look at your scores, if you click on the listed chapter, like I play Red Corsairs for Chaos, so I can click on Red Corsairs, it'll show me the rankings for all of the people listed under Red Corsairs. So it's kind of like a little mini thing that you can, have for yourself. AdMech, all of the previous Dataslate changes have been reversed. So they're back to, I don't know what. I don't know if the codex has been FAQ'd. I don't know, but all the Dataslate stuff has been reversed. So if you play AdMech, like, you're the one who knows what's going on. Cool. And then the last one is not so much a nerf. Like, I don't really classify this one as a nerf. I think it's just cleanup of unintended interactions. So for Necrons, they removed core from character vehicles because there was some shenanigans that were able to be done that TOs were having to make rulings on, like, oh, can I resurrect the Menhirs? Can I give this order to the Silent King that he's not normally supposed to be able to receive orders or protocols, whatever the fuck they're called, that kind of thing. So obviously they're like, oh, we didn't think of that. So that's not what we intended. We want your vehicles to have cores so they can benefit from the cool rules, but the characters have some unintended consequences. So we're gonna dial that back a little bit. The end. That's all there was.
Yeah. Hey, 40Ks. I gotta admit, like, 40K, this balanced Dataslate chapter approved, although I don't 100% agree with having to buy the books themselves. I think
for the tournament book?
Yeah. I don't agree with that, but I think everything else, I would give you my hot take by saying that everything else GW has been doing with the balanced Dataslate, the chapter approved book, the quarterly updates, obviously, with and putting out the timely FAQs ish with codexes when possible is probably the only thing they have done right in the past since 2017, to be quite honest with you. And it's cool to see. I think 40K is in a really good spot right now. I personally am not motivated to play competitively because of this still, but I see some really good precedents. I see some things working, and I like it. It gives me hope that they can, capitalize on some other things. But I like to see it, and I hope it continues because this shit is going right, and it's good to see.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I disagree with you about the tournament book, but I also agree with you that having the points and these data slates be free and all that stuff is good. And yeah, your input on this. I was talking to somebody earlier today. I am still, after all these years, what has it been, like 5 years since Age of Sigmar got released? Is that right? Or is it
2015, 7 years?
Oh my God. So I am still baffled as to why Age of Sigmar has this completely different, more pro-consumer rules distribution model that they have not carried over to 40K. Like, it makes no. Okay, so for example, like the Sons of Fat Giant guys,
Sons of Behemoth,
the Dad Bod Giants. So they just got their new book.
Dad Bod Giants, I love it.
That's what they are. They just had their new stuff drop, but all of the what do they call them? War scrolls or data?
War scrolls.
Yeah. So like their stat line, their stat cards. Yeah. They're free to everybody. Now you can't see their army rules are not free, but the data sheets. Yeah.
Where?
My friend showed me in the app earlier today. He sent me a screenshot.
Oh yeah. If you got the app, but that's not free. The app's not free. You got to pay for that.
Yeah. But it's like what, $5 for a month?
I'm not doing it.
Okay, well, they're never going to do everything completely for free, Rob. Like, they're a publishing company. I'm just saying that, like, of the two systems that we have right now, Age of Sigmar is way more pro-consumer than the way that we get stuff for 40K. Because when the Imperial Guard Codex comes out, I have to buy that Imperial Guard Codex, or I have to wait for it to be pirated to see the data sheets.
No, you have to put in the code. The codes are in the battle tomes too.
Yeah, that's what he said. Like, the data sheet is free to everybody to view, but like warlord traits, relics, army.
Yes. Yeah, so that stuff you do. So they did that before. Why?
It's not. Yeah, that's what I know. They've been doing that. That's what I'm saying.
They put the sheets. You can download the sheets off the product page on GW's site.
Yeah, like why don't they do that for 40K?
I agree.
Why?
I think they should do a lot of things for free for 40K.
I don't know. Games Workshop chose speaking in riddles. Like, I don't know what they're doing. It just seems that like the only thing I could like rationalize it is that there are still viable fantasy game competitors to Age of Sigmar. Like, because Games Workshop, their two flagship IPs is Grand Battle Fantasy and Grand Battle Sci-Fi. One of the main reasons that people love 40K is because I get my huge sci-fi army with tanks and stompy robots. Mm-hmm. And
it's obviously more popular.
Right. On the fantasy side of things, they still have direct competitors, though. You have
dude.
Yeah. Because right now there's not kind of by our definition, there's not a viable sci-fi competitor, right? Like, you have Legion. It's kind of close, but it's still a much smaller game. And it's Star Wars. So whatever your opinions on Star Wars, some people just like never got into Star Wars, or they like it, but not enough to like buy a miniatures game for it. You know what I mean? So the only way I could rationalize their model for rules distro is that like they have to be more pro-consumer to the smaller player base, or risk losing them to these other games like Kings of War.
I see what you're saying, but they have still done some weird stuff in Sigmar. Like, for instance, the Lumineth Army box came out with the Lumineth Battle Tome, and literally, I want to say less than a year, there was another Lumineth Battle Tome, and we're actually
like really mess it up or something.
That's just what they did. Like, the same thing with Sisters. They basically did a triple release of Sisters within 2 years. They did that with Lumineth, and there's actually a third Lumineth Codex or Battle Tome that just came out. So for the factions that they want to get the money from, they're going to get the money from. I mean, Sons of Behemoth, they just eclipsed the $200 price tag for a single model.
Right.
Yikes. So
yeah,
they're going to get paid on what they're going to want to get paid, but there is still inherently there's more value to AOS than there is for 40K. You're correct.
I would say so. Cause I mean, like, if let's just say that we lived in a vacuum where, no pirating existed. Nobody, everybody was, the nicest little altar boy and would never think about taking pictures of their codex with their phone and putting them on the internet. Like Wikipedia doesn't exist, right? The only way as a player you would be able to get just basic information on certain things is like word of mouth, which is not reliable, or buying the book yourself. And that would that's really bad. That's not cool. So just for example, let's say that like you and I are playing a 40K game and I've got the new Votan stuff. Would you feel better going into that game if you knew the stat line for all of my units? Just that's the information you have without buying the codex. Like I know that your call has like 5 wounds and he's T5 and yada, yada, yada. Right. And then I would be like, so, you can pull up the stat lines and everything, but this is my army rules. And I explain those. This is my relic warlord trait. And I explain those. You can do that with Age of Sigmar. And I feel like that is a way more feels good player experience than what we have now, where it's like the only way for me to get information without buying the codex is, against the company guidelines online, right? Or like quote unquote illegally. And I feel like if they did that, it would really placate a lot of people in the 40K scene where it's just like, you don't get the army rules for the new guard codex, but you can see all of the new updated stat lines and weapon profiles and everything on their data sheet for free, or for the sub fee in the Warhammer app, whatever it might be.
Maybe they need to bring that to the Warhammer app, because Lord knows they need some fucking help besides just giving out vouchers every now and then. Well,
Age of Sigmar has been going for 7 years. I assume the app has also been going for 7 years. It just boggles my mind. They made a completely different app instead of just taking the same app framework.
The Sigmar app works really well.
Like why would you not just make a 40K toggle in that app where it's like, which version of the Warhammer app would you like to look at? And you just toggle over to whichever one you want. It seems like so much less work.
Question for the GW leadership.
It baffles me.
Maybe the people they hire to make that app will never work with them again because of a bad taste in their mouth.
Also entirely possible.
It's all speculative at this point, unfortunately, but I can tell you that it would be nice.
Maybe they said, well, fuck you guys. It was the worst experience of our lives, and we're never doing that again.
Didn't get paid enough or something.
Or too controlling. Who knows? Fucking knows. Sorry, I've been in and out of the show. But I've been working with to the audience. Our gas got shut off yesterday, right?
And you need to pay your bills, though.
Yeah, seriously.
That's first.
Those slips of paper that come in the mail. That
was my first thought.
Pay this.
ADHD forgot to pay a bill. A guy shows up. He's like, "Look, man, we got a SoCal gas guy says, hey, we got a notification. You have a gas spike, and I'm here just doing this to make sure you're not gonna die." I was like, "That's weird." He's like, "Yeah, just like our app tells us, like." Based on your usage and shit, And I'm like, okay, you see, are you trying to rob me? Like, saw he's got the truck, he's got the
collect, dog.
I'm like, okay. So he tests everything. There's no leaks in the house. He's getting nervous. I'm like, what's wrong? He's like, well, if all my inspections and sensors we can't find, an appliance is the problem. Means you have a leak in the house line, and I have to lock down your gas until it gets fixed. And I was like, oh, that sucks. I mean, it's like cold showers and my stove doesn't work and shit. And he was like, yeah. I was like, but like also I don't die of like carbon monoxide poisoning or some shit, right? He's like, yeah.
That's a plus.
I was like, thanks. Okay, this sucks. I've got a lot going on this weekend. I'm going to SoCal Open while I'm gone. Bonet's got a friend visiting from New York who's staying here. I'm like, this is going to be awful. And he's like, you know what? You were real cool, man. Like I did this 3 times today and everyone hates me. And I was like, I mean, I can see why they may be mad at you, but like I'd rather like take a cold shower than like go to sleep at night and not wake up in the morning.
Yeah, for real.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I've been dealing with. That how it happened yesterday. All day today since 8 a.m. I've been like up out of this chair, over there talking to these guys, letting someone in over here, checking this, pulling this out, like in and out, like nonstop. And just a few minutes ago, they said that they just wrapped it up and so my shit's on. So,
Hey,
Oh, they found it?
yeah. We're
Well, that's good.
Gas is back on. So,
They were out there for like
Anticipated.
12 hours?
yeah, they had. I mean, it was a nightmare. Well, it's crazy.
Oof. Well, I'm glad they figured it out.
We're back. So that's why I haven't had but like 6 seconds on this show tonight.
Well, there's 3 of us.
Well, luckily Wyatt was here to hold it down,
we had some good philosophy moments.
and drunk Rob.
Yeah, dude. Like, you do this every time.
Do what every time?
Other
Drunk.
Rob.
Yeah. let Mirror Universe Rob out of his fucking basement.
This is all an act. I'm completely sober.
You should do an act every time. You're a good actor.
I wish that was the case. I'm going to be very badly in the morning.
Hearing you start the news segment and be like, everything fucking sucks. Nobody cares.
I didn't say that. I said all
That
the GW
was-
new releases suck this week.
Yeah, that was like, I haven't
They
been that
do.
happy in like a month, dude. That made my day. Like,
Well, I mean, what do you want? You want another edition of Warhammer Underworlds? No one cares.
yeah, I
Do you
know.
want
I wish you would be that,
re-releases
that, like, that spicy with every news release. That was so much fun.
GW news this week. It sucks.
Sucks. I mean, dude, more than one store owner has been like, what the fuck is going on with these releases? And I'm like, I feel you, dog. I can't, I don't know what I'm supposed to say.
No, it's such a weird feeling too, because you can look at the models and be like, those are cool. Like, great work, guys. Really cool models you made. But I feel like most of their side games, what do they call them? Specialist games?
Yeah, specialists, yeah.
I feel like most of them are just dying on the vine. Like, even though they keep doing updates and new stuff for them, there's just like no audience for it.
I don't know. We're not them. Whatever. I can tell you what, I built a brand over the last 14, 15 years about what I think is cool. And I'm just going to stick with that. And there's nothing
Yeah,
cool
but
this week.
be sarcastic, Rob, about it.
Yeah.
I did. It
No.
all sucks.
There you go. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Every week.
But it doesn't all suck every week.
Okay, that's fair. Okay.
Yeah.
I see your
Some weeks when that Teenage Mutant Ninja fucking van comes out, it's going to be dope. I'm going to get one and put it together.
What was that for?
The Votan.
Oh, okay. I thought there was some new Ninja Turtles thing that you were hyped for. And I was like, oh, cool.
No.
Me too at first. I thought that too.
It was like, is there going to be an MCP Ninja Turtles crossover? That I
Oh
haven't
my
heard about?
God.
That would be so
Man.
fucking
Yo, get the
hype.
turtle, get the
man.
turtle van up in that joint.
No, but there is Transformer cars in the next Magic set.
Ugh.
Nobody cares
Yeah.
about that shit.
Nobody gives a shit, dude.
But plenty of people care about
You-
that.
Yeah, but not here.
Not like
Literally,
literally.
people watching that play Magic.
Nobody gives a fuck about Transformer magic cars, dude. You want Transformer toys in your hand.
Yeah, dude. I want that like Dark Horse crossover into MCP so we can have shit like G.I. Joe and Transformers and Ninja Turtles
Yeah.
in MCP.
I want a bunch of
Maybe-
Foot Clan dudes, some Mousers.
Maybe one day.
Telling me you don't want to like kick the shit out of a Sentinel
Yo.
with Optimus Prime?
Get the what's Crane's Fortress with the eyeball?
Oh,
That's-
yeah. What is
the-
that?
And
Terror
Crane in
Drum?
his Android armor. Dog, think about that with like the Sentinels now, like in NCP. Dog, get the fuck out of here.
Bro, if
The
they
little
came out with the
buzzboard
Ninja
things.
Turtles and Splinter, that'd be so fucking tight.
Dog, get the fuck out of here. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
Snake Eyes. You could have Snake Eyes in MCP, Rob.
There is a Snake Eyes miniature.
there's
already.
a miniature of everything. Have you not heard of 3D printing?
No, I mean, Renegade Studios put out the RPG. See, look, I got an Abaddon, the Despoiler playmat. How
Okay.
cool is that?
That's okay. Playmats are useful. Magic cards are not.
Because you gotta get a protector. You gotta get a mat protector for your mat that protects your sleeves, that protects your cards.
It's not a protector. It's just how you
Are all
store
of
it.
those things also protecting your virginity?
That was gone a long time ago.
All right. Well,
I just couldn't
did
get
you guys do an hour?
protectors? That's all I could hear when he said that.
It's true though. Oh wait, one last thing. So I need you to print me the sword dick. You know the part of the sword that looks like a dick head.
What? For what?
I need another one for the lion, the 100mm lion.
Wait, didn't you paint it?
Yeah, but it broke and I lost it and it went to Australia and vanished in the mail because Australian Post is awful. The model showed up, the sword dick smacked off and flew out of the box and it was all kicked around.
What?
Bro, no matter how I shipped to Australia, it doesn't matter. Bro, the lion, I made my own custom box out of like the plastic cardboard, you know? I like hot glued my own box. I made fucking foam, like Lincoln log supports. Like, I mean, he was in a box, sealed box with fucking foam supports with foam around it in a box, right? Motherfucker box all smashed to pieces and he's all broken in three places. And the sword dick is gone. So I told my boy I'd have Rob make me a custom dick.
You didn't oversell it at all. Whew. That's a tough order. All right. We'll get it sorted.
Thank you.
I think I sent you something else too already.
Did you? I got something from Pop Goes the Monkey, perhaps, from you?
Yes.
Yes, that's right there. I'm looking at it.
I saw they're coming out with some new minis, like full-on minis. Like an October one that's pretty fun.
I think that's probably what I have, right?
He might have that right next to him.
A couple of Imperial Guard looking guys.
I don't paint miniatures anymore, so I'm not going to really, I mean.
Oh, yeah.
Bust only. You know, at first I thought you don't need legs, first off. That's children's miniatures, right? But then I realized 2 arms? That's at least 1 arm too many. Right? So I'm painting a bust right now with no legs and only 1 arm. Right? And then I'm like, well, what about like just a torso and a head? That's obviously the height of art. But then
the head.
But then what if you just had the head?
Yeah. Well, see, you're still doing like kiddie pool shit because you have to like carve your sculpture out of granite like the true masters of old and then paint it.
But what I'm thinking now, the highest art might just be like, I don't paint busts. Or anything. I just talk about painting things. I think I could just skip to the end of this journey right now.
What if you just put up a piece of artwork or like an MS Paint and just like read other people's words about painting?
Yeah. Not even write them yourself. You just run them through.
Also put your really disgusting political opinions in there.
No, what you do is you run them through the Microsoft like reader. The AI
text
voice.
to speech?
Yeah, text to
speech.
Yeah,
why are you even using your voice, dude?
Yeah, seriously.
At this point, why am I even doing it? Yeah, like, shit. You guys make some solid points.
I'm serious.
I did once win a dick drawing competition in MS Paint, though. Just want that to be known.
Wow.
Really happened. I fucking wrecked that competition.
Was that in the same building as the POG Championship?
No, this is in my old trailer. Rob's seen it.
It was a sight to behold. It popped up in my Facebook memories today that I was out there in Woodland Park 10 years ago today.
Phrasing?
Yep.
What? There's no phrasing there. That was real.
And you stayed at the Fire Eagle Lodge and you bought a new Xbox and you wanted to download Call of Duty and the Wi-Fi was like 1 pixel of information and you were like, you kept going up to the front desk over and over again. You're like, guys, turn the fucking internet on. I'm on a vacation. I'm in this lodge. I want to play Call of Duty on this Xbox. No, Rob never got to play Call of Duty.
Shit was ridiculous. In the year 2012, no internets.
I never got to play it.
Although I did have drinks at a Denny's. Who would have thought?
Oh yeah, our Denny's serves booze. It's 24 hours.
That. We're like, yo, we got a full bar. Like, the fuck?
Yeah, we did.
Where am I?
He's trashy as fuck.
I want it. Was that pre-gluten? No, that was post-gluten.
Yeah. Okay. You guys feel confident that we've done our job as professionals today?
All right.
All right. Well, I'm going to say something I haven't said in weeks. Wyatt, you want to take us out of here?
Rob.
It's great to have you back, Wyatt. Thank you.
Go. Shut up, baby. I know it.
So that's it for this one. For exclusive content, early access videos, and more, head over to longwar.net. Become a veteran of the Long War today. Good night, everybody.